Alright guys, welcome to episode 3 of my spooky Saturday series. So today, what is this, episode, or number 5? This is number 5 of my creepy experiences. So this time, oh, this is really messed up. I was in my room, and I'm playing video games, and a damn centipede, I had the American flag hanging above my bed, and something told me to look up, so I looked up, and this damn centipede was literally hanging by like a few legs that it had left on the flag, and it fell like almost right next to my head. So of course I freaked out. I jumped out of bed and I said, I am not sleeping in here tonight. No matter if I take off all the covers and all that, I am not sleeping in here tonight. So I went out onto the couch, and so I'm laying on the couch, and you know, I'm trying to get settled in, and I could hear the VCR click on, you know, and the light would flash on saying, you know, normally it says welcome. Now this time it flashed on and it said hello. And so right away I was kind of like thinking to myself, doesn't it usually say welcome? So I didn't think a whole lot of it. You know, I'm like, all right, whatever. You know, maybe it just rebooted. Well, it does it again. It turns off and then turns back on. It says hello. And now I'm really like, all right, now, you know, is my pillow up against the remote? You know, so I'm going up here like, you know, looking for the remote. But I look over and it's actually on the other couch. So now I sit up and I'm really like, okay, what the heck is going on? Oh yeah. So of course the VCR did something funny again. This time it didn't say hello. It just started doing like 0000 dash dash dash, and then it said goodbye. And so I figured, okay, that's all I needed. That's, you know, that's all I needed from you. So the next morning I get up and I tell my parents about it, and now I'm really like, all right, I'm gonna do a little experiment. So I walk over to the VCR and I hit the power button, and instead of saying hello, sure enough, the screen says welcome. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe if I use the remote, it might have a different frequency. I hit the remote power button, and it says, welcome. So the next thing that happened, we were house sitting for my parents, me and my now wifey, fiance wifey. We're house sitting for my parents, and, you know, nothing happened at night, which was kind of funny because I told her about all these, you know, all my ghost stories. So we were expecting something to happen, but nothing happened that night. It happened the next morning to her. I was still asleep and she was just laying in bed, and she said that she heard what sounded like my dad's boots when he would come home from work. You know, you could hear like boots walk across the kitchen. So, you know, she thought that they had come home, so she wanted to just, you know, act like she was still sleeping, you know, instead of having that like awkward, you know, oh, good morning. So she was acting like she was still asleep. But then when she didn't hear any more noise, she actually got up and looked around and nobody was there. So she told me about it, and she said, you know, she heard footsteps like my dad was walking through the kitchen. And I was like, well, it's good to know that it happens to somebody else, and, you know, not just me. So then after that, she was always kind of not weirded out, but, you know, we were always kind of like, oh, I wonder what's going to happen next time we house sit. All right, guys. Now this is like the grand finale, okay? And now when I was kind of saying like what my favorite of my ghost stories were, this is gonna take the cake right here. So me and my wife were laying in bed sleeping. It's the middle of the night, and I feel like I could feel myself wake up. But if you've ever had a dream where like you wake up like you feel like you wake up but you're still sleeping. I believe that's called sleep paralysis. You know, like you're awake, you're cognizant of what is going on, but you can't move, you can't like open your eyes. Well, I was having that happen. I was like, I knew that I was awake, but at the same time, God, I'm getting the chills. Oh my God. All right, so I knew I was sleeping, but I knew I was awake. And at that exact same moment, I could feel like it felt like I was being pushed. But it was a strange feeling because it felt like I was being pushed inside my body. Like it felt like if you were in a sleeping bag, like say your body, your meat sack is a sleeping bag, and inside the sleeping bag is your soul. Now, I could feel, it felt like somebody was trying to squeeze into the sleeping bag with me already in it, and like trying to push me out. So I just kept feeling like somebody was pushing me, and this whole time, and not knowing what the heck is going on, like I don't know if I started to kind of fight back, but just feeling like somebody's pushing you out of your body is the only thing I could describe it as. So I've never had this happen before, but I sit up. Like, you know, in the movies where you see somebody like asleep and then like something happens and they just like sit straight up. Jeez, bird! Oh, I hit it! No! No! Oh! I would just like to say a little prayer for that bird that looked like it had just got done taking a bath. Sorry, little guy. I definitely did not mean that at all. Yeah. Alright guys, so I'm not going to go back over there because I don't want to see a dead bird carcass, knowing that I did it. So, like in the movies, you see people like have a nightmare or whatever and just sit straight up. Well, I sat up the fastest I've ever like woken up before, and like this is leading me to think that I was, you know, like my soul was conscious and awake, and that's really why I'm thinking that this happened. So I sit straight up. You know, I freaked out. I just sit straight up, and at that exact moment, guys, I'm telling you, at that exact moment, my wife, in her sleep, in a little girl's voice, mind you, in a little girl's voice, she says, "Grandpa, Grandpa." So I literally wake her, I shake her awake, and I'm like, "What did you just say?" And she's like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "You just said something. What did you just say?" And, you know, half asleep, she's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." And I said, "You said Grandpa twice in a little girl's voice." And so now she's kind of freaked out. I'm freaked out. And I think that was like around 2 or 3 in the morning, and I didn't sleep the rest of the night. The only thing I could think of is, she said that her grandpa was, you know, pretty protective of her. The only thing I'm thinking of is he didn't want his little girl to be seeing me, or for us to be sleeping in the same bed together until we were married or something, because at the time we were just dating. And so that, yeah guys, that was probably the scariest thing that's ever happened to me. And that probably happened about 5 years ago. And I'm sad to report that nothing else weird has really happened since then. Which, you know, it's, I don't want to say it happened so much that like I got really used to it. but it was kind of happening like I was kind of looking forward to it, and it's like I always kind of told myself now that if something else kind of happens, that I really want to play it up and kind of, you know, see if I could talk you know, to the spirit, or, you know, like, you know, in those ghost hunter shows, you know, kind of seeing if I could get any kind of reaction out of it. But yeah, guys, those are my ghost stories, and like I said before, they're 100% true, you know, because I even have other witnesses, you know, being my, you know, my mom and my wife for, you know, what happened to us. So those are my 100% true ghost stories, and I hope you've enjoyed them. If you have any stories that you'd like to share with me, leave them down in the comments. Please like the video, subscribe, comment, whatever you want to do. But those are my experiences, and until the next video, hope you guys have a great spooky day.